Consumer assists the most indebted, or consumers apparently that are most indebted are South Africans between the ages of 25 to 35 and are mainly low-income earners. On average, it is going to take indebted consumers between 4 to 12 years to get out of debt. This morning, we're looking at how you can get out of debt. And we've invited Randall Adams, who's the Chief Executive Officer, Ubuntu Debt Rehabilitation, a registered debt counselor, to talk about their campaign launch. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Randall.
Thank you.
Now, just looking at your focus areas, how different is your approach to the various agencies? You also have Black Sash, you have the South African Saving Institute that have similar programs, and major banks as well.
Well, being a debt counsellor within the economy or in the sector at this point in time, we've taken a different approach. What we're doing is we've launched the National Debt Awareness Campaign, whereby independently we're going out to consumers, to corporate sectors, to the government sector. We're rolling out this process because of the situation that we're faced with within the economy at this point in time. We've now rolled out this campaign. It's all about education. It's about financial education.
And living within your means?
110%, yes.
Okay, and it starts with a plan?
100%. In most of the cases at this point in time, consumers have a budget, but they don't apply the budget. So therefore it is within their best interest that we now assist them to do this planning, to do the financial planning, more financial budgeting and financial education. This is solely the drive that we're going out as a registered debt counsellor to bring this relief to consumers. And
one of the issues is that while you're trying to recover from your indebtedness, it's also advisable not to take additional debt. For instance, if you go to loan sharks to try and remedy a situation, borrowing from Paul to pay Peter, for argument's sake.
Correct. Being a debt counsellor, and look, there is a relief program that has been implemented with the rollout of the National Credit Act. The National Credit Regulator is there to ensure that the rollout has taken place. I'm sure most people have seen these NCR logos on banks' doors, on credit retail stores and so forth. With that being said, now what's happening is the creditors have to do the assessments before just granting the loans. So, there's a lot of financial education that consumers are lacking that we want to roll out. So when you're going through these relief programs, definitely you cannot take more loans out. It doesn't make sense to take out more loans, obviously, when over-indebted.
But it's safe to say that it's indiscriminatory in the sense that a lot of South Africans, it's not just the low-income earners, the middle class is also feeling the pinch as well. So are you going across the board in various sectors as well in your approach?
Correct. Because, look, being a debt counsellor, we've been in process for a year as such. The Act is only about 2 to 3 years old at this point in time. What's happened is we've had an influx of across-the-board consumers, as you said, from high-income earners to low-income earners. Seeing these consumers, this obviously brought this initiative together to say, what, we need to get out there, we need to roll out this educational drive to advise consumers. Simultaneously, yes, there's help available, but what, let's prevent those consumers or other consumers from undergoing this debt relief processes.
But 4 to 12 years is a very, very long time to be living on a shoestring budget and not being able to access further credit. But it is necessary.
Most definitely. Unfortunately, with the economical crisis that we're facing at this point in time, it makes sense that, you've got to plan carefully. Nobody knows what's happening in the next year to 2 years. Yes, 2010 is upon us. Things are going to change. Things are going to better. What happens thereafter? So what we want to do is plan.
Yeah, but with somebody saying that I make so little that I'm not able to service all my debts as obligated every month. So are you saying that even the minimal payment that you can make is absolutely important so that you get out of this trap much sooner as opposed to trying to run away from your creditors?
You must understand, credit providers are looking for their funds that they need to collect, obviously. So they are prepared now to accept the minimum because at the end of the day, there's a debtors book that needs to be collected. And when we're saying to consumers, go ahead, pay what you can afford. At the end of the day, you want to avoid the blacklisting route, you want to avoid the legal jargon, the legal processes that will be taken against you as a consumer. So therefore, the creditors are willing to accept those lesser installments.
Okay, but can you put some on hold? If you're saying, according to my plan, I want to get rid of the higher interest creditors, store cards, etc., and I'm going to put creditor B on hold for another 3 months. Can you have that kind of arrangement with it?
Fortunately, that is where the intervention of a debt counsellor comes in, because being authorized through the credit regulator, that is our functionalities as counsellors to address the issues with the credit providers, and if the need be, if we have to put one of the credit agreements on hold, obviously to service the others in order to help that consumer out of that situation, out of that debt trap. So yes, it is a possibility, but we try not to look at that because the more you put on hold, you don't want to prolong it further. So what we try and do is balance all your creditors at the same time. And yes, especially in the lower income industry, we're getting it right as well.
But the issue is also that in some instances you don't qualify for a debt consolidation program because, one, you don't have a fixed asset, i.e. a property, etc. So therefore you don't have the safety net of just putting everything in a bundle and then paying lower interest and installments on a monthly basis.
And based on what you're saying, that is why it's important that we're rolling out this national campaign, because what we're doing is not consolidation. It's called debt review. It's the debt relief program. Now that any consumer qualifies as long as you're working, and we will assist you to ensure all that your creditors are paid. That, you see, that is the main difference between debt consolidation and debt review. And now you understand why we need to get out there and make this aware to consumers that there is availability, there is help out there.
Okay, so I come to you with my liability and expenses, pay slip, etc., and then what?
What we will then do is evaluate your level of over-indebtedness. We would negotiate to all your credit providers, and we would then propose a lesser installment, obviously looking at your living expenses also, because don't forget, what's the point you're paying all your creditors but you cannot survive at the end of the month because you can't put food on the table. So our job functionality is to clearly balance that equation, create that equilibrium so that you can survive and ensure accounts are being paid.
But you come at a fee?
No, 100% obviously, but it's all legislated and regulated through the National Credit Regulator. And I mean, proudly to say we only can charge an application fee of 50 Rand, and there is a regulated fee when you do the restructure. That's at a maximum of 3,000 Rand. But that obviously doesn't apply to a lower income earner that cannot afford the 3,000. The NCR has made facilities available to debt counsellors to claim from that fund as such.
Okay.
So ideally this process is to really assist consumers out there.
And accessibility, I mean, how wide is your footprint? I mean, you're a year old, you have about 20 employees nationally, and exactly how widespread are you aiming to go?
And if I may say, we've actually just come through from KwaZulu-Natal in the last month of 2008, where we've gone to not only the cities but to the remote areas as well. So we're quite vast spread, we're going out there, we're delivering the messages to consumers. We've now just launched our debt awareness campaign, all about education. It's financial education. We're assisting consumers. Our launch takes place now in February, and so forth.
Yeah, but is it in most official languages for consumers to understand?
Correct. Look, obviously with the NCR, they are being, well, with them being the regulator, all their material is in all different languages as well. So when we go out there, it's not independently. We're going out with the voice of the NCR as well, which is the National Credit Regulator.
All right. Now, well, there's hope yet. Thanks so much, Randall. I appreciate your time. We're speaking to Randall Adams. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Ubuntu Debt Rehabilitation. And if you would like to find out more about how you can rid yourself of debt or be financially more healthier, you can go to their website. That is www.ubuntudr.co.za. That's ubuntudr.co.za. Let's take a quick ad break. We're back with the latest news.